Hi, welcome to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City Vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you folks? I hope you're all well.
It's been a long time since the last episode. It feels like a long time. I mean, it's about 2 weeks since we recorded one, and a lot. It doesn't feel like a lot's happened since then.
No, there hasn't. I mean, obviously it's the international break, which I don't agree with wholeheartedly, especially when we're on a good run.
It's annoying. It does break up the momentum. I mean, don't get me wrong. England got a good result against Spain, and I think the players played in the most ridiculous game in Croatia going.
Oh, that was awful.
But I think we're all glad to be back from that little mini series of games and back to
Back to
the nitty
normality.
gritty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to be covering the match against Birmingham City at home. But just before we do that, what were your thoughts about the Norwich result?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I think they played the hearts out in that match.
Well, it's certainly been a while since we've had a meaningful win on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was an own goal, but to be honest, I think the thing that really got me most of all was the fact that it was a goal that arguably we didn't deserve, in the sense that Norwich, by all accounts, were the better team. And we essentially got the goal and then shut up shop, which is something I have not said in such a long time. It is so great to be able to say that.
I mean, I don't care whether it was an own goal or whatever. Stoke won, and that's my main priority.
I mean, the way I see it is we've had similar situations happen to us over recent years, you know. We've put in a good performance and not got the rewards for it, so it's only about time that someone else suffers a similar fate against us.
I mean, my memory isn't that good, folks, so I can't actually remember the last time we had an own goal.
I mean, saying that you do, it was Juve. That Juve incident early in the season.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I still think it was a Juve goal, but you just don't want to credit him, do you?
No, I don't.
You know, so I'm standing by my guns there on that one. But yeah, it's great to actually have a bit of reward for something like this, you know.
I'm just hoping GR puts that same team together now. Probably with the inclusion of Ryan, to see how he's faring up at the minute. Because I don't think Ashley Williams had the greatest of games.
I think I'd stick with what we've got at the back for now, personally. I mean, if anything, I don't think the international break will have done Ashley Williams any good, just for the fact that I don't think and I think they got a clean sheet against the Republic of Ireland, but I think he was shown up a bit against Spain when they had a friendly.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that I think Ryan has got to have another chance.
I think the thing with any chance is you've got to make your way in there, in the sense that someone has got to make a mistake for Ryan to take advantage of it, you know. And I think that's just what Ryan's got to wait for, you know. I mean, to be honest, if Williams and Bruno keep getting clean sheets, I'm not going to complain.
No.
You know, I love Ryan, but if it means that he's on the bench, I'll take it. If it means that we're keeping the clean sheets.
Yeah, I think if we could get, say, 2-0 up against Birmingham and then bring Ryan on for the last maybe 20 minutes just to play him, you know, just to give him a chance that he hasn't been forgotten.
I mean, I can't see that happening personally. I mean, just for the fact that I think even if we go, like, say we picked the team we did against, who did we play 2 weeks ago? It was Bolton. Sorry, I had to remember that. It's been a while. If we pick the same team we played against Bolton, so you bring in Bojan and Berahino for McLean and Afobe, then I can't believe that we'd bring on Ryan even if we were winning.
Yeah.
I think there's more chance we'd bring on the two players I've just theoretically dropped. You know,
it's my mother instinct coming in, love.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get that. I mean, I would love to see Ryan get back in at some point. I think the difficulty will always be it's got to be down to either an injury or a suspension rather than just giving someone a cameo appearance, as it were, which is a shame for him.
I'm not contradicting myself because at the time I did want Ryan to be out of the team. He wasn't having a good time. But, you know, now I just wish he could have a little bit of a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while for Ryan. And, I mean, it's only been about 3 or 4 games, but, you know, considering he's been a mainstay in the side for 10 years,
Yes, yeah.
it is a long time. And
he is our captain.
yeah, I mean, Ryan Woods, to be fair to him, has done excellent in the leadership role. I mean,
Oh, definitely.
I'll admit this has brought up a question for me in the lead up to the Birmingham game, because in our ranks we've got an ex-Birmingham City manager and we've also got an ex-Birmingham City goalkeeper. So the question I've been wondering is, will Jack Butland be given the captaincy in a one-off situation this weekend, similar to how in the past Rob Huth was given the captaincy against Chelsea, one of his former clubs?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we have had a history of doing it in special occasions.
But GR might not work that way.
Exactly, so it will be interesting to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, Ryan Woods definitely seems to be Gary's man as far as wanting to spread ideas onto the pitch.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if it happens, but again, if we're talking about sentimental reactions, it wouldn't be a surprise to see that on Saturday.
Yeah. I hope so.
I mean,
our Jack can really have his outbursts at the players, and it might just shake them up.
to be fair, it seems like the only reason people would be against Jack getting the captaincy is all the off-field stuff going on with him regarding change of agents, the fact that he wants to move back to the Premier League. It's not sitting well with me, I'll admit, just for the fact that I think Beswick's previous agency was they're reputable in the industry. You know, they've got a good reputation. Yeah. And I think the idea that he's going to move to, I think I've heard he's going to join Wayne Rooney's agent or Harry Maguire's. And I'm not particularly disrespecting whoever they are, but I feel like they will definitely be angling for a bigger move, a bigger contract, whereas maybe Jack, with his previous agents, would have perhaps played a more sensible approach regarding it.
Well, let's face it, there's no top teams left for him to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be in the Premiership, but he won't be in one of the top 10.
I mean, I've got to agree with you there, because if you look through, the top 6, they've all got a goalie, and Jack doesn't want to be a backup, otherwise why leave here?
Yeah.
Then just looking outside the top 6, you've got the likes of Newcastle, they've got Dubravka. Well, if you're talking about stature, I know Newcastle aren't in top 6 at the moment, or top 8. Everton have got Jordan Pickford. So, you know, there are quite a large number of top goalies all around.
With theirs.
Yeah, I'm going to say. So, I think Jack is a little bit deluded if he thinks he can just go and get a number 1 spot at a club that are going to be better than Stoke.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense that if we get promoted, any club that he could join at the moment, arguably, we could challenge next season if we go up.
Well, we've got Shaq, for instance. I saw comments this week that he isn't able to get into the first team, only off the bench. And he's accepting that by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, I will give Shaqiri some credit there in the sense that he did admit that he knew that when he joined. You know, he wasn't deluding himself into thinking, I should be starting. But, you know, equally, I do believe that it's dependent on what type of move you're looking for. And I don't think Jack's looking for that sort of move.
He isn't.
You know, I think he's really shooting himself in the foot that he didn't get a move to Liverpool over the summer.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard some people saying that perhaps Jack wanted his agent to try and lower the price. And I'm thinking, but we're the selling club. We dictate the price.
Yeah.
An agent shouldn't come into the office to Tony Scholes and say, right, I want you to lower the price for Jack. You know, because it shouldn't happen. If that's the case, then I want to know why Kepa Arrizabalaga's agent from Atletico Bilbao didn't lower his price.
You keep swearing at me, don't you?
I'll admit, I wanted to show off that name, I'll admit. But not 89 million, it's about 75 million that they paid for that goalie from Atletico Bilbao. Why didn't that agent say, come on, lower the price, you're being unreasonable here? You know, it just doesn't happen in football. And I think for Jack to be expecting his agent to do that with the club is just being a bit selfish. Personally.
Like I say, I can't see him getting in the league, Premier League, to anybody above the top 10, even top 12.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of them are good goalies.
What happens? He goes into the Premiership and then gets relegated to Championship again. It could happen.
I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah. So is it better to be with the devil than fly your wings?
Yeah, I mean, we could go through the Premier League teams, but that's not what this is all about, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, that's all come about with Jack being captain.
Yeah, I'll admit, but I think it was an interesting topic to talk about
Yeah,
because,
it was.
if anything, we're looking at the goalkeeper situation, but I'm also looking at a forward line going into this game because it's very rare we get Midlands derbies, or at least it has been in the last few years, and that, we've had West Brom, but that's really been it, especially since Aston Villa got relegated. So this is a nice game for me in the sense that it's sort of local.
Yeah, we've got that many local up the road.
Yeah, I'm going to say,
Duck.
put it like this, I'd rather a trip to Birmingham than I'd rather a trip to, say, Sunderland. So,
Yes,
and what is interesting is we've got Benik Afobe leading the line, ex-Wolverhampton Wanderers striker.
Yeah.
We've got Saido Berahino, ex-West Bromwich Albion striker.
Yeah.
So I am curious if there's just that little bit of needle in their minds, in the sense that they're thinking, go on, let's just go score against the Blues.
Yeah, and let us be the tops in the Midlands.
Exactly, but I know you might say, why do they need the extra needle, but you just imagine that the Birmingham supporters will give them a little bit of stick. Yeah. Just for the clubs they've played for in the past, so you never know, maybe they can use that to their advantage.
Well, talking about Birmingham, folks, you'll be pleased to hear
this is going to be fun.
The only thing I've got against Birmingham is the manager, Garry Monk. Oh, he's unbelievable, that guy is. And my dislike of him started against our game with Swansea and his comments after the game about
Victor
Moses. And I'll never forgive the guy for them comments because he was absolutely distasteful in all the comments he made.
He was quite ruthless in that he called Victor Moses a cheat, if I remember right.
And no manager should be allowed to utter them words on television about another player.
I remember at the time afterwards, after the game, and Monk had his interview, and then Mark Hughes came out for his. And I do remember Hughes at the time saying that Monk is a young manager and he'll learn not to make comments like that in the future. And I'll give Monk some credit there. He hasn't made a comment of that nature since.
I shouldn't think so.
I mean, he's still a fiery person, and I'm open about this, that when we sacked Hughes in January, I was quite open to the idea of Monk coming in. I know you wouldn't have been.
Oh, I wouldn't.
But I also recognise that Monk did a good job at Swansea when he kept them up originally, when he first took over. So I wouldn't have been against bringing him in because, if anything, he just lost his job at Middlesbrough and that would have been a very quick turnaround for him. So
I rest my case. He shouldn't be with us.
But on the other hand, I, at the time at least, thought he would have been a good option. And in hindsight, I think he could have done a better job than Lambert.
Please comment on this, folks.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know there aren't a lot of Garry Monk fans out there and I'm not exactly appealing to them, but I am also curious if people can see what I'm saying.
Are you for Jan or are you for Josh? Come on, Jan.
I don't think I'm going to win this one, but still, I'm putting my nose out there.
I want comments, folks, that I'm right. Thank you. Right, the stats. I might as well get my bit in. They've won 2, they've lost 2, and they've drawn 8. Which I think is incredible, really, for draw 8, and they're in position 17th.
I mean, I know they're not winning and losing a lot, but drawing is a pretty tricky thing to do consistently, I think, in this league.
It's very consistent, isn't it? 8 draws. I mean,
I'd have to go into each individual result, but you'd assume that a few of them are fight backs. I mean, I seem to remember on the opening day, they had a draw against Norwich. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that one of the two teams took the lead twice, and then the other team came back, and I think it was Birmingham who took the lead. So Norwich equalised, and if that's the case, then I think that does show that Birmingham are a bit frail at the back in some instances. But again, that's just one game in isolation, so...
I mean, I like Birmingham. I always look how they're going on because I had a friend years ago who was an avid Birmingham fan, and we had this rivalry, obviously Stoke v Birmingham. So I've always taken an interest in them with that. So I've got nothing against them at all, you'll be pleased to hear. The top scorer is, now wait for this folks, because I'm not good at this.
I do a drum roll, but I'm going to say I'll just nod the mic.
It's Jutkiewicz.
Yeah, Lucas Jutkiewicz.
Right, he's their top scorer with 6. So we've got to be on the lookout for him.
Yeah.
He has got to be marked constantly.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to play or not, because from what I've heard, Birmingham have rotated the forward line a bit this season. But the other star name for me in their team is Che Adams.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think he's been as consistent this season as he has in previous, but it's a name I always seem to notice with Birmingham.
Yes.
You know, whenever I'm looking at the scores, I see Che Adams and I think, oh, he scored again.
Yeah. Well, I've just done the review and my stats on them, and he was mentioned a lot.
He's I wouldn't say he's prolific at this level, but he's certainly capable. It's a bit like how in the Premier League we got by with Juve. I'm not saying that Juve is anyway prolific, but he could nick a goal or two, and even that one season he got 12. So I think Adams could be a bit like that at Championship level. He's certainly a good option for Birmingham.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put Josh on the spot a bit here. Stoke are currently in 14th. If we win on Saturday, is that going to improve our position, or are we going to stay where we are?
Well, the way I always look at it is you've got to rely on other teams dropping points. Now, I couldn't guess all the permutations off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've heard that the gap between ourselves and top spot is something ridiculously small. I think it's something like 5 points maybe.
From top spot?
I think. I might be wrong.
It's very tight then, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll admit I've had a glance at the table in the past fortnight, and that's just purely because I don't believe in looking at it at this point, at least in this detail.
I think what we need is the ones above us to get slaughtered by, 3 or 4 goals.
Well, the way I see it is Brentford changing their manager and Aston Villa getting Brentford's manager could help us in the sense that Villa have been playing, by their fans' admission, a bit of hoofball in recent years.
Yeah.
Dean Smith doesn't play that way, so they've got to adapt to his style of play. Not to mention as well, there's Brentford who've brought in Thomas Frank, I think his name is, who isn't exactly an experienced manager in the league. So, again, those are two... Exactly, he was the assistant manager to Dean Smith. So it's going to be interesting to watch Brentford and see how they react without the previous manager now. Because I always think it's a bit iffy when an assistant takes over as a manager. It's as if the club say, oh, who do we go for? Oh, I'll go for this guy, he's already here. So it's not that it doesn't work out. You do get some instances where an assistant actually becomes a very good coach in their own right.
Well, was it Wolves? Or somebody got the sack and the caretaker took over.
Are you talking about with Mick McCarthy?
Yes.
Because, Terry Connors, I think it was Connors or something like that.
Yeah.
He took over for the end of the Premier League season and they got the sack without a win, to my thoughts.
Yeah.
So, you do get instances where they don't work out, and it could be the same here. I mean, it might not be, but it all depends how good a head coach Frank turns out to be.
Yeah. I mean, it just proves, like with the Manchester United fella,
Berahino.
Fella, that famous guy.
Yeah.
His job isn't safe, so, but you wouldn't put the caretaker manager in there, would you?
Oh, you're saying that, yeah. I'm sure I heard Michael Carrick was being linked to take over there, so, in the sense of a short-term basis, so you never know in this game,
I hope that Zidane takes over personally.
I mean, I know this is completely separate from Stoke, but
sorry, folks.
But I've got to admit, if you're watching Premier League football on the side, I've got to say it's been boring lately, and United are part of that problem, unfortunately. And I think getting someone in like Zidane might solve that problem, just to spice that top half the table.
Yeah. See, I tend to watch the Premier as well because that's the only football on, so...
Well, they have more of it,
Yeah,
definitely.
so I just tend to watch it all. Anyway, back to Stoke and Birmingham,
Yeah.
hey folks. So, what do you think the formation is going to be?
Well, the way I'm looking at it is they've got to get Che Adams on. They've got to get Lukas Jukovic into the side, and he's a bit of a target man, so I'd expect them to play with wide forwards. You know, it's more of a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. But to be fair, they could spring a surprise. It could be that they won't play Adams and Jukovic together up front. So
what are you going to suggest for Stoke's team?
What I suggest for Stoke is not ignore what Birmingham do, but focus on our own play, which is, as I said previously, I think we need to go back to the Bolton blueprint, which is Bojan and Berahino back in the side.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that even if McLean and Afobe had good games against Norwich, I can't help but think we need to have a game plan against teams that are going to sit back, which I think Birmingham will. And we need to have a game plan when we go to teams that are going to take the game to us.
Yeah,
and I think in this next 7 days, we've got 2 of them games. We've got this one where I believe Birmingham will sit back. You know, I think they'll get chances on the counter, but they will sit back. And then, as we will cover in the next video, we've got Sheffield United coming up, who I think will try and tear us apart.
Yes, I definitely. I mean, I call them the little bulldogs because they bite. You know, when you're least expecting it, really.
If you're talking about dogs, they are certainly the underdogs right now,
Yeah.
Sheffield United. And
well, I said to you this morning, you know, I was shocked when they were top of the table.
I mean, I wasn't shocked as such, but it did sneak up on me, you know, in the sense that I saw them and I thought, oh, okay. But it was more that I hadn't realised it, you know. You're looking at Leeds and West Brom. You've even had Brentford around that area, and then suddenly Sheffield United have taken a turn. So
I honestly thought that Leeds would be at the top of the table until way after Christmas.
I've got to agree. I thought they'd be up there till then at the very least. I don't think they're going to drop away. But
no, I don't.
I think they're going to not be as consistent as we thought.
Yeah, but me personally thought that they'd be holding the top spot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Birmingham go in the league, I think where they are currently, did you say it was 19th or 16th?
Birmingham 17th.
17th, oh, I'm getting my numbers all mixed up there. I think that would actually be a place where the Birmingham supporters would be happy. And if there are any Birmingham supporters listening, I would like to know that, because you've got... I would argue it's a transfer embargo of sorts in that you're allowed to sign 5 players, but that was the limit. You've got players who aren't playing in Thomas Kuszczak and David Stockdale because they've got too high a wage. So I would be very interested to know what your thoughts are, how the club are currently running, because... like my mum said, I haven't got anything against Birmingham. I've never actually enjoyed trips to St Andrews just because I've always found it a tough place to get a result. But I've got nothing against the club in particular, so I am quite saddened to hear of the state that you're in. And if there are any out there, I would like to know your thoughts on the current situation, what you think is going to happen. But
yeah, like Josh just said, I've got nothing against Birmingham. One of the few teams I haven't, you know, so... I'm always ripping teams apart. I'm a Stoke supporter and I rip teams apart because I don't like them.
I was going to say, I mean, it's everyone's right, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm a Stoke City supporter, 100%, and there's just a few teams I do like.
Alright, so just wrapping up now, what are your predictions for this game?
Well, I would say 1-0, but... I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Stoke.
Now, I was recording this footage as I do, and when I was playing it, I couldn't help but think to myself, I've got to stop doing the prediction after I've played the game, because as you can see, I'm winning 5-0 in this game, and it made me think to myself, hang on, could we score a few goals in this one? So I am going to go 3-0, and I'm very wary of that because...
Get in there, son.
I'm going to say, one, because I know football is not a computer game, and I don't want anyone ever thinking that I think that way. But also, I've just got this image in my head of, you know, we seem to have got the forward line working, even though it didn't click the last game. The last games, we've sort of shown the defence could work a bit, so I'm just hoping the two meld together a bit in this game and we get a few goals to fill the belly, as it were.
Well, I'll tell you, folks, I sit here doing this vlog with Josh, and I'm watching this match, and I take it like I'm watching a real match. I forget that it's a PlayStation thing, you know, but like I said, I'm interested in everything that Stoke are involved in, even this.
Well, I've said it before, I only do the gameplay footage just because it saves me and you having to do video cam footage every week.
Yeah.
But
you certainly don't want to see me on here.
But hopefully, for those of you who don't like listening to our voices, it's at least some form of entertainment for you. Alright, but that'll be a wrap for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the Stoke City Vlogcast and hope you've enjoyed listening to us as well.
Well, it's ta-ta from me, and don't forget your comments, folks.
Okay, bye for now, everyone.
Okay, bye.